Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video today, I'm going to be getting pretty open and honest about the reality of being a New Zealander and living across the other side of the world in Germany during this pandemic. Life has changed drastically in the last year. I can't just jump on a plane and visit my family. I'm in fact not even really welcome in my home country right now. But before I get into this, on a much happier note actually, I would like to give a big heartfelt thank you to Luisa for partnering with me in this video today. If you watch my videos, you would have already seen me wearing Luisa jewellery because I have been wearing it basically every day for the last almost 2 years. I not only adore their jewellery, but I absolutely love what their company stands for. Luisa is an ethical, sustainable, carbon neutral jewellery line. They are based in New York and they produce the most beautiful minimalist style jewellery pieces. All of their jewellery is made out of recycled materials, including recycled gold, and they are produced in very small quantities to reduce waste. My most recent Luisa jewellery piece is this beautiful little delicate necklace, which I'm wearing today. It is called the Forget-Me-Not necklace. I just think it is so beautiful, so subtle, and I think it almost has a bit of a vintage feel to it, which I love. Luisa have actually kindly sent my mum in New Zealand this absolutely beautiful heart-shaped necklace as an early Mother's Day present on behalf of myself, which I am so incredibly grateful for. They have also sent her another jewellery piece in the past, which she wears all the time. She absolutely adores it, and I am just once again so grateful to Luisa for doing this, because I don't get to see my mum very often, and it's just a little way that I can show my appreciation. Not only is Luisa jewellery very high quality, but it's also very reasonably priced. So it starts at around the €39 mark and it goes up to their higher end jewellery line. So there's definitely something in there for everybody and everyone's price range. Right now, Luisa is having a big Mother's Day sale. Every single piece of their jewellery on their website has 15% off. So I will leave a link for where you can check that out in my description below. Okay guys, so let's get into this video. I have been getting so many questions lately asking, Antoinette, when are you going back to New Zealand? Hasn't it already been years since you visited? Antoinette, when is your mum coming to visit you? She hasn't met your baby yet. Antoinette, it must be so hard. Is it hard for you seeing everybody living life as normal in New Zealand when in Germany you're still in lockdown and your kids can't even play with other kids right now? Yes, it is hard. It is really hard. When am I going to be going back to New Zealand? I have absolutely no idea. When am I going to be seeing my mum again? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And basically, I could be crying right now talking about this, but I think I've mentioned in other videos, I have had to block that part of my emotions off, otherwise it's just too hard. Okay, maybe I am gonna start crying. I know that so many people are going through a similar situation. It's not just me, I'm well aware of that. You know, this is a global pandemic and there are people everywhere who are in the same position as me. But yeah, it's very hard not knowing when I can go back to New Zealand and knowing that I haven't seen my family and friends for years. Like before the pandemic broke out, I was at the point where I was dying to get back to New Zealand and we'd left it way too long. Normally we tried to go back sort of every year, every few years for a really good holiday. But this time around we left it too long, basically because we were building a house for one. Amelia had started school. There were lots of reasons why we hadn't visited New Zealand for quite a while. And then this pandemic came and there was no way that we could visit New Zealand. Something that was really comforting for me living in Germany was knowing that anytime I wanted, I could just jump on that plane and travel back to New Zealand and I would be there in a couple of days, which for some of you will seem like a long time, a couple of days, but in reality, what is a couple of days in the grand scheme of things? Right now, I can't do that even in an emergency. If a family member of mine was dying or if a family member passed away, I couldn't be there for the funeral. If something happened to my mum, I couldn't be there. And, you know, you may be thinking, well, you can actually go to New Zealand, but My reality is that it is extremely difficult to bring my whole family over to New Zealand right now for many reasons. One of the reasons is money. It is extremely expensive right now to get tickets to New Zealand. I think the tickets have basically doubled, and normally it's over €1,000 for each person in my family. I have a husband and 3 kids, so 5 of us would have to be traveling to New Zealand, and with those prices basically doubled, that's just unrealistic for us. And then there's the managed isolation. When we arrive in New Zealand, we have to quarantine for 2 weeks, as I've talked about before, and I don't know the exact price of that, but it's going to be extremely expensive, especially for 5 of us, and we just cannot afford that right now. It's just not possible for us. And also, you know, quarantining for 2 weeks, it's okay if you're there for 3 months or something. With that managed isolation, you're 2 weeks in quarantine where you're not seeing anybody, and that cuts into your holiday and just all of that kind of thing. It's just not realistic for us right now. If I was single and I had absolutely no responsibilities and just myself to think about, it would be definitely doable going to New Zealand and staying in managed isolation for a couple of weeks, paying that little bit extra and having a really long holiday in New Zealand. But, you know, I come with a package deal with all of my kids and my husband, and it's just not possible right now. Also, for my mum to come over to visit and to meet my little baby, my little Luca, who was born, you know, 3 months ago. It's not possible either, really. Right now, life is basically back to normal in New Zealand. There are no cases of COVID, and if you do hear about a case, it's in managed isolation. It's like huge news. And here in Germany, we're absolutely riddled with COVID-19, and we've been in lockdown off and on for over a year. I just can't expect my mum to come over to Germany right now with things the way they are here. And, you know, for her to pay all of that money, extra money for the already expensive ticket, and to have to stay in managed isolation on her way back to New Zealand, and for her to risk, you know, my mum will be turning 70 in a couple of years, so she is in that risky age group. I don't expect my mum to come over and risk all of that just so she can spend some time with us. It's not realistic. You know, you guys know how close I am to my mum. My dad passed away when I was 12 of leukemia, and I just have such a strong bond with my mum. And, you know, I miss all of my other family members in New Zealand, of course, but it's my mum that I miss the most, and I'm so sad that we can't be together. And I don't know how we're going to be able to be together anytime soon. I need to be strong for my kids, and I know how important that is, because when I was growing up in New Zealand, my dad was very, very sick. He had leukemia, as I mentioned. When I was 3 years old, my dad was diagnosed with an early form of leukemia called acute myeloid dysplasia, and it was a very, very serious blood condition. My dad lost his battle with leukemia when I was 12 years old, and so he left behind myself and my 4 siblings, my 3 brothers and my sister, and of course my mum. I often think about how strong my mum was during that time when my dad was so sick. When we were kids, she was raising 5 kids and looking after my dad, and she was just so strong, and she knew that she had to do that because she had no other option but to be strong for her children. And I'm so pleased she was, because, you know, if she had lost the plot when my dad died, then what would happen to us? But my mum was always so strong, and I have to be like that for my kids, even though this is nothing compared to what my mum has been through and what we went through when my dad was dying and when my dad passed away. I don't talk about the fact that I can't visit my family and friends in New Zealand very often, because it's not going to make me feel better dwelling on that. I need to think of the positives in my life, and I have so many things to be grateful for and so many things to be thankful for. I have a beautiful, beautiful family, 3 beautiful kids and just a loving husband, and I have a beautiful life here in Germany. I live in a safe country. When I say safe, right now things are not great with COVID. Germany's a very stable country. It's a great country to raise children, and I'm so lucky. I've got beautiful friends here in Germany, and that's what I like to focus on right now. And I know that this will not go on forever, that there will be a time where the world will open up again and I can travel to New Zealand and I can see my family and friends, but for now I need to focus on the positive. It may sound cliche, but it is so true and it is so important. I talk about this often, but we live in a time where there is incredible technology, where I can just pick up the phone and I can talk to my mum at any time of the day I want. And you know, we're breathing the same air, we are looking up into the same sky. Most of the time I am just too busy to dwell on the negatives. I am happy with my life here in Germany with my kids, and I'm busy, and I'm not often thinking about, you know, the negative parts of this pandemic, but there will be times when I'll feel really sad about it, and I don't like to dwell on those moments for too long because it doesn't bring me anything. It just doesn't. I need to be a good example for my kids. They need to see the way that I deal with this situation, and I want my kids to look up to me the way that I look up to my mum when I think about, you know, how my mum dealt with that incredibly difficult time when my dad was dying of cancer. And this is nothing compared to that, but it's still challenging for me, and I feel my mum's strength, and I think she's passed that on to me in a way, because I can't be weak. I just can't be weak in this time. I think it's a true test of character with how resilient people can be in times of stress and uncertainty, and how people cope with these situations. You can either crumble and turn into a blubbering mess, or be strong and just, you know, overcome these challenges. My kids talk about New Zealand on a daily basis. They feel like New Zealand is part of them, which it is, and they are looking forward to the time when we can visit again. We try and focus on that rather than the fact that we can't go to New Zealand, it's impossible and it's expensive and all of that. We talk about the time like when we can go and how amazing it's going to be, and the fact that we're so lucky that we're able to pick up that phone and they are able to see grandma or Uncle Andre or, you know, anyone back in New Zealand. So anyway guys, I really did pour my heart out in this video, and I'm sure you kind of know where I'm at right now with this whole situation. Of course, it's very difficult not being able to see family and friends and being so far away from my homeland, but I'm making the most of the situation, and I have to for myself, for my kids, for my husband, and I'm not miserable. I'm really not. I'm so happy in so many ways, but there's a part of my heart that aches for New Zealand, and it always will until I get to be there again. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video and letting me pour my heart out to you. Also guys, I just wanted to remind you that Luisa is having a big sale right now for Mother's Day. So there's 15% off all of their beautiful jewellery, and I'm so lucky that I was able to send my mum a beautiful necklace so she can think of me. The shipping was extra quick, by the way, from New York to New Zealand. It took about a week for the necklace to arrive, which I think is absolutely awesome. So I will leave a link for where you can check out all of their beautiful jewellery in my description below. Thank you so much for watching guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye!